Hamilton's Forge FC set to kick off a busy month at Tim Hortons Field. They have 4 games at home, including the first leg of the Canadian Championship semifinals 1 week from today against Toronto FC. And to discuss that and more is midfielder Tristan Borges. And Borges, I got to admit, someone said, like, can you call him Gorgeous Borges today? I'm like, well, it doesn't matter if I call him that. I've known you forever. We've known each other for a while since you've got here. Tell us about the Canadian Championships. How significant is this tournament next week?
Yeah, I think it was obviously very important to kind of get over that hump against Montreal and obviously beat an MLS side. But you know, we're just excited for the next game. We're happy to be in this situation, and we deserve to be there. And we're happy to be playing at home first.
When you're scouting this game, I know your coaching staff has been watching TFC. Are you watching TFC? I mean, you've seen a bit of their struggles. Are you getting them at the right time, or how do you feel about their opponent?
Yeah, I mean, we know they have quality, but Montreal also had quality. So for us, it's just kind of worrying about ourselves and focusing on the quality that we bring on that day and putting on a good show for the crowd.
Yeah, talking about the crowd, we'll talk about the 4 home games coming up in the month of July. But back to that, you know, your team versus TFC, this CanPL versus MLS. How has the competition since in your time here, how has it gotten tighter? How does it compare?
I think the quality keeps growing every single year, and I think for us to be playing in competitions like this and to be going further and further and playing MLS teams, I think it just goes to show the quality that we do have and the quality that it's going to keep bringing into the league and also into Forge, right? But I think we've been playing an MLS side, I think, almost every single year. We've been putting on good performances, and so far this year it's been going really well.
Yeah, you mentioned getting over the hump over FC Montreal, but now TFC, first leg, we're expecting a great crowd down at Tim Hortons Field. Talk about that. 4 games at home this month. What the fans, especially in your time here since year 1, what the fans mean to you as a player out there on the pitch?
Yeah, they know how I feel about them. I love playing at home. It gets me fired up, obviously, but for us to play, especially in this big 2-leg series, I think it's big to have that home crowd first and get those nerves out. I said the same thing against Montreal one, and I think having our home crowd behind us in that first game kind of brings the stress a little bit down and the nerves down and lets us enjoy it a little bit more.
I would ask for some tactical strategy on how you're going to play them, but I think Coach Bobby might yank me off the air himself if I do. So let's talk about how the season is going. Obviously a bit of a stretch right now, high-scoring affair that you weren't a part of a few weeks ago against Ottawa, but how do you feel like the guys are clicking? You know, you bring some new guys in, some guys move out, but how do you feel like the squad's clicking?
I think it's going well. I think every year we kind of have these little moments where it kind of goes up and goes down, and for us it's just finding the way to get back up, and we've been playing good football. There's obviously certain things that we have to kind of fix, including myself, but I think overall we've been doing really well. We're still at the top half of the standings, which is obviously where we want to be, but I think it's been going well, and I don't even think we hit halfway through the season yet, so we still have a lot to play.
We're talking about the Canadian Championships. Obviously, if you win the Canadian Championships, you get a berth in the CONCACAF Champions League. That's always been a big goal of this team. You got to play some games last year, but talk about that tournament and what it would mean to be a part of it again as a CanPL squad.
Yeah, I think on this side of the world, I think that's the biggest competition we could be a part of, and for us being so young as a club, and especially a lot of guys, you know, you have a lot of maybe players on the team that haven't played in competitions like that, and I think that's a big way to kind of spark your career and to kind of put your name on notice. And for us being a part of it this year, it was great for us, and obviously there was a great crowd at home, and we performed well both games, and for us it's just trying to push to get it again next year.
Speaking of big tournaments, couple going on right now, Copa Americas and Euro. Let's talk Euro. Who do you got winning?
Portugal.
Of course. Okay. I mean, I had to ask.
Portugal.
What about Copa? Who do you got winning that one?
Obviously, I'm pushing for Canada. Yesterday, I watched the Brazil-Colombia game. That game was crazy, but I think Argentina.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. You're gonna stick around. You got time to stick around?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Let's stick around. Do feel good time. Toronto FC taking on Forge FC. That's happening next Wednesday, 7 p.m. at Tim Hortons Field.